If you want new clients for your marketing agency and you're feeling overwhelmed, you're not sure where to begin, watch this video. I'm going to give you a simple 3-step process for getting agency clients as soon as possible. And not only that, there are also 3 great things about these strategies. Number 1 is that it's only going to take a couple of hours to go through this, set it up, and get it spinning. And the second thing is, regardless of whether you have no budget for marketing and you're doing it on a shoestring or you're using a whole bunch of paid media, this strategy works and scales. In fact, it is the thing that I used to create an agency which grew to 7 figures that I eventually sold. So let's jump right in and look at what those strategies are. What we're going to do is create a pitch, and that pitch is going to resonate with your ideal clients. It's going to get them to pay attention. It's going to get them to view you as an expert, and then it's going to allow you to weed out the tire kickers and only talk to the prospects who are really interested in what you have to offer right now. So with that, let's jump right into these 3 parts of the strategy. The first part is to nail the hook. Now, have you ever been at a party and you're talking to somebody and they're just going on and on? It's all about them. You don't want to be that guy. You're bored. You don't want to listen to that guy. You don't want to be them. So let's make sure that you're not that. And also, have you ever been driving in a car and you're just driving along and you're just kind of letting your mind wander, and all of a sudden you hear the siren, you see the lights, all of a sudden your attention is drawn to this one thing because we've been trained to think, oh, well, I have to pay attention to this. It's something that's important to me that might affect me. We're going to do the same thing with your pitch. We're going to make it so that just for the specific person that you're pitching, they're going to perk up their ears and say, I have to pay attention now. So that's the first step. We want to actually hook them. How do we actually hook them? We do this by 2 things. Number 1, we call out who they are. And number 2, we say what we are going to do for them. So in other words, when we're doing this pitch, when we're creating this, we don't talk about ourselves and what we do. We talk about them, make sure that they are hearing their own kind of company in the pitch, and they're hearing their own kind of solution that they need or problems that they have in it. So you don't go into it saying, oh, hi, I'm so-and-so. I have a digital marketing agency. Nobody cares. What they do care is about their specific problem that they have now. So let's talk about how do we structure that. I have a very specific way of doing this, which can give you a launching point, which if you've never really had a clear elevator pitch before, this is going to let you really crisp it up and make sure that you get the attention that you deserve from prospective clients. So I want you to use this very simple format, and that is we help this kind of client get a specific outcome they want so they avoid a painful thing doing this. So it's a very specific set of templates that you can use in order to make a really crisp pitch, and you might have to modify it a little bit. So let's go through a specific scenario here. Let's say that your agency helps law firms and you've identified that their pain point is that they're just getting these low pay clients. Their collections stink. They're not really getting these clients that are actually following through when they actually get a bill. That's their pain point. So what might our elevator pitch look like for them? It might look like we help law firms get 10 high paying clients per month so that they avoid cash flow problems by using filtered client acquisition process. So immediately you see there that your ideal client knows that you are addressing exactly them, exactly the problem that they have, and the outcome that they want. See how that differentiates from somebody who's just saying that, oh, I do SEO, oh, I do digital marketing, I build websites, I do brand design, whatever it might be. That's the thing that you do. That's not the problem that you solve. So when you phrase it using this formula, you really get the ears up of any prospective client who would be an ideal client for you. So the exercise for you is to actually map this onto your specific business. So I'll give you a different example. This works in any industry. So I'm going to give you an example for me right now. I use the following. I help agency owners 3x their revenue and 5x company value, increase cash flow now, and be able to sell the agency when you want with the agency ascension process. So as you can see, I've identified exactly who I work with, which is agency owners. I talk about the results that I can give them, 3x revenue, 5x the value, so that they can eventually sell their agency. But in the meantime, until they decide to, they're cash flowing much better. I've identified a specific pain point, which is confusion. Very often they don't know what the next right step is to take. And I've talked about how I do it. I've used the agency ascension process, which is the process that I use. So you can use that for your agency. Just use the exact same template. It's what I used when I had my agency before I sold it, and it's a very effective and concise way of doing it. Now, this is only the first step. Remember, there are 3, so don't stop right here. The second part is a mini case study. Now, what this does is once you've got the prospect's attention and you know that you can provide a solution that they actually want, they really need some credibility. You can think of the mini case study as a bridge. It's a bridge over all of the uncertainty uncertainty and the doubts that they have, right? There's your prospect on the other side of the river, your solution is here, and you need to get them to mentally commit to coming over to you. And these mini case studies are part of that bridge, which is going to get them to see, oh, this person is not just making a claim, they've actually done it. So we're going to do that in a format that's, again, really concise so that you can use this in all kinds of formats. And I use a mini case study for that. Now, before I jump into what a case study is, if you don't have any case studies, or if you're just beginning, still you want to listen through this piece because it's super important. It's actually easy to do, and you have to understand it so that you can deploy the mini case studies as soon as you've structured them or you've gotten the clients to do so. Definitely watch through this because, again, it's very simple, but it's very important. This is what the mini case study looks like. It's going to be super, super short. There's a place for long testimonials, and you'll probably hear about, oh, you need these long testimonials, etc. You do, but what you need at this point, after you've just gotten their attention, is you want to quickly validate that you actually have the goods. Okay, so let's take a look at a specific format that you can use for that. Now, the way that I format this kind of quick mini case study is this. Our client, and you insert their name, got a certain result in a certain time without pain. So let's do a concrete example. Let's go back to that law firm example. Our client, Jones & Jones, closed $245,000 in new cases in 5 weeks without any additional time marketing. Now, see what I've done there? I've named a client so they know it's a real client. Now, you might not be able to name your clients, but you can also say an industry, a law firm or a personal injury law firm could use, but it's best to name the client. So a specific client got a specific result. That's the kind of result that your ideal client wants, like $245,000 in new cases. That sounds great. And they did it in 5 weeks. So it's an amount of time that they did it, which shows that you can get results in a certain amount of time without any additional time marketing. In other words, they didn't have to do any other work, because very often in this particular industry, which I know well because I served it when I had an agency, was marketing is too much work. So the more you can take off their plate, the better. So I identified in this little mini case study, one sentence, but it identifies, oh, I want to be like that. So when a client hears that, a prospective client hears that, then they're saying, oh, okay, I get it. I want that too. I'll give you another example. And this is actually an example that I used from my agency. And that is our client, the Smith firm, started a new personal injury practice, and we got them $1 million in new cases within 4 months without them having to do any networking. So that was one of the ones that I used because I identified the specific pain points that these practices had. So these law practices is like, oh, how do I start a new branch of my firm? In this case, personal injury. It's going to take a lot of time. I'm going to have to go to all these networking events, all these pain points. Wouldn't it be great if I could just spin it up really quickly and not have to network? So that little mini case study, that one sentence says it all. And so now ideally what you've done is you've gotten 3 to 5 of those. So you're going to first put your little elevator pitch, and you're going to put 3 to 5 of those pretty much as bullet points underneath it. And now you've got a super, super concise but powerful way of expressing what you do that's going to get them interested. And then it's going to show some proof, and you can deploy it in multiple different ways. Now, a couple of nuances about that. As much as possible, you want to use numbers. Now, in these examples that I just gave you, I use dollar figure numbers. I use time numbers. You don't have to be dollar figures. It can be a certain number of leads. And again, the more numbers you can include, the more powerful it is, because it really shows that it is objective. The moment that you get into subjective things like the best, super happy, very satisfied, that's just not as powerful as showing a result with a number. So to the extent that you can, include numbers. As I mentioned before, to the extent that you can, include the actual client name. Now, you might not always be able to do that, so you might have to say something that's in your niche, right? So going back to the legal example, one personal injury firm or one mass torts firm or something like that, a specific kind of firm, less powerful, but that also can work. If you are in a vertical like legal, medical, B2B software, for the mini case study, if it's not obvious from the name of the client what they do, add a little piece about that. So you could say, our client Dropbox, parentheses, cloud solution storage, got this result. So by doing that, your other prospects are going to see, aha, that's like me. Therefore, this agency can get that kind of result for me. So that's the mini case study, but keep on watching because we're going to talk about how to deploy it. So step 3, we're going to actually deploy this. And first, all you need to do is assemble these pieces. So you start out with your little elevator pitch, and then you're going to have your bullet points afterwards, each one of them a case study, ideally 3 to 5 of those mini case studies. And then you're going to put that into whatever format and you're going to send it out. Now, the great thing about this is, as I've mentioned, we're perking up the ears of your ideal prospect. We are getting them to believe that you can get that result. And what you're also doing is, because you're sending it out in that format, the people who are going to be responding are people who actually have that pain point right now. So unlike a lot of other strategies which rely on, oh, well, I don't know if they actually have that pain now, and you end up following up with a lot of prospects, which frankly might just not be very motivated right now. They have low urgency. That's what frustrates a lot of people in sales. But if you're using this format, you're going to be attracting and getting responses from people who have a need now. So that is going to reduce the tire kickers that come into your world and really make your sales process a lot smoother. So what do you do now that you've got this entire little pitch? You can do multiple things with it. Number one, you can put it in social media. So especially LinkedIn. This can go in your LinkedIn bio, in your LinkedIn profile, which is going to allow people to self-identify. That's what they want, and dig in and then contact you. You can do this as an outbound effort. So you can go ahead and send this as an outbound email. You can send it down direct messages on various kinds of social media. You can include it in your bio. So if you're being asked to speak at an event of some sort, then you can use that in your bio. You can use it for personal networking. Anywhere that you would normally put who you are, you can use this. It's a little cut and paste kind of thing. And you can also use it for outbound. So whether that outbound is, as I mentioned, direct messages or email marketing, you can do it onesie, twosie by yourself, costs you nothing to do by email, or you could even scale that out into an email acquisition program to get more clients for your agency. So I use strategies like this to grow my agency to 7 figures and to be able to sell it. So now you have the strategy yourself. So here's the next thing. Get on it and tell me how it works for you.